Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Three and Out podcast. Been a bit of about a week or two off, I would say, from a long episode, but we are back here with a special one because we're not doing a tier list, we're not doing a top 10, not doing a draft. We're doing a more personal episode, a Q&A, where we answer your questions. We had you guys submit them through Instagram stories or here on our YouTube community tab. So we're here today letting you guys know a little bit more about us. It should be a fun one. But gentlemen, how we feeling? Brandon, how the hell you doing?
Doing good. A little bit of a break. Crazy busy time of the year, but I'm excited for this one. A little Q&A action. Get to answer some questions that y'all asked us. So I'm excited to get into that.
Q&A never hurt nobody. How you doing, Noah?
Pretty good. Any opportunity I can get to spread my shitty takes on the internet, I'm going to take. So
Why
let's
not?
do it.
Hell yeah, let's do it. So thank you guys who submitted questions, whether that was on our Instagram, which again, you can follow us down below on the community tab or on my actual Instagram. We got a bunch of different variety here, some college football, some movie, some life related. It'll be fun. We're starting with the great question, though. This is from my friend Jacob. You might recognize him as Starcourt Food Court. He's a great dude. He said, "What was y'all's first memory watching college football?" This is a great one off the bat. Now, we're all Georgia fans, so they might be Georgia related. But I'm going to toss this over to you first, Brandon.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this before on a couple of occasions. So my first memory with college football was, like you were saying, watching Georgia. I think the farthest back I can go was the Sugar Bowl against Hawaii. I want to say that was like 2008 or something like that. Yeah, we played Hawaii in the Sugar Bowl. Somewhere around then, really just put it to them. I remember watching that with my dad as a kid. So I think that's my very first memory. Those like Matthew Stafford, No Marino, Georgia teams.
Yeah, the blackout game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff. For me, it's sort of similar. It was like I don't remember the whole game. I remember watching parts of it as I was a kid. I was like in and out. It was like the Georgia Florida game every year was like a holiday at my house. So depending on what year it was, I vividly remember the 2010 game where Georgia lost in overtime. But like the '08 team, probably even the game where Georgia like stormed the field. I think that was
Oh
'07.
yeah.
I think I remember like flashes of that. So it's definitely with the Georgia Florida game, which is why it's still so special to me today. But Mr. White, what's your first memory with college football?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I didn't like closely follow Georgia football until probably, I'd say like 2010, 2011 is when I really started becoming a diehard like I am today. I I think I gotta go with '07 because my family went to a game that day. And I remember my little brother, he was like 3 at the time. They bought him like one of the plastic helmets and like jerseys. So I just remember walking through Athens and he just had like the full get up on, but he was like, like 3 feet tall, just walking around. It was, I don't know, it just kind of sticks out in my head. That's probably the earliest memory. But yeah, we lost that day. I just looked up the score. South Carolina beat number 11 Georgia 16-12.
Not a good
Different
look.
game.
It's a,
Different game back
a
then,
thrilling
bro.
game, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. There's a lot of memories too of like growing up watching, iconic bowl games and all that, like the Clowney hit, but that wasn't my
Yeah.
first memory. That's just one I remember watching live. But keeping it in the SEC here, this is from our good buddy Drew. Shout out to Dude Streaming.
Oh yeah.
He asked a few questions. This was the one that I thought would be the funniest to bring up. Which SEC quarterback has the most Riz? Should we do current or like all time? That's the one that's the way I was thinking of answering it. Current or all time? Because I honestly am not up to date on all the current starters in the
Same.
SEC.
Yeah. I'd have to look at all the starters. I can try to pull it up, but
I say we do like all time, man. Let's do all time. And
I
you
think
all know who
All
I'm going.
time.
I think I'm
well,
in agreement with you, Chris, about your
yeah.
answer.
I'm going Johnny Football.
Yeah, so I was thinking.
He's got the most Riz, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The man just had the swag, the confidence. He could probably, yeah. He back in his day, he was probably just an animal walking around the Texas A&M campus. Let's just leave it at that. Oh man, yeah,
Oh
he was
God.
that guy.
Most
He was
definitely.
that guy.
Yeah, it was. Well, I have a
But
counterpoint. I do have a counterpoint. Sorry, it was
okay,
bad podcasting
Sure.
on my part. I gotta go Joe
you're
Burr,
fine.
Joe Shiesty himself.
Oh, wait a
Good one.
second.
Good one.
That's a good
That
one.
might actually be the one. That might be the
I
one.
mean, from like I know he was in the NFL when he did this, like the fur coat walking into a playoff
Mm.
game.
Yeah.
to the Burrow EAUX. That's pretty swaggy. I don't know.
It's Burrow. I was caught on my nostalgia
That
from
is a good
2012.
point.
It's Joe Burrow. Yeah.
I think Manziel is close though. I was
Manziel's
trying to
definitely up
look up.
there.
I was trying to look up current SEC quarterbacks. I gave up. I don't really think there's anybody that stands
No.
out.
Burrow has transcended the Southeastern Conference. The man has a hold on everyone in the NFL right now, worldwide. Yeah, it's got to be Joe Burrow. When he was puffing that cigar after the Natty, it was like everyone just knew. People were making edits of that.
Yeah. They still do.
Man. But yeah, keeping it in the SEC and close to home for us. This is a question I've actually asked both of you off stream before. This is from Ash. He says Stetson Bennett or Jake Fromm. There were points where we've gotten to like heated debates about that, but I think I don't know. I mean, is there even room for debate here, or is it Stetson all day? Brandon, how you feel?
I mean, if you would have asked me that question a couple of years ago, you'd have a different answer. But back-to-back natties is he's transcended being compared to Jake Fromm. We're talking about more elite Georgia quarterbacks that he's in comparison with, in my opinion. Like Aaron Murray or Matthew Stafford. But that 1 year from Fromm, that freshman year, obviously a great year, but it's hard to beat back-to-back national championships.
Very true. Noah, how are you feeling about that debate?
Yeah, I know it's rare to be critical of your own team. Like I honestly think Jake Fromm is the most overrated Georgia quarterback of all time. Like to me, he was never much more than a game manager. Obviously, I mean, he had that 1 year. The 1 year in 17, I mean, it looked like he was going to be something in 18, but then just he regressed incredibly. It was honestly, I was very surprised to see how bad he regressed. But
it was
Stetson, like there's a much larger body of work. He was there for what, 5 total years. So yeah, I guess that argument, but at the same time, back-to-back national titles, Heisman finalist, kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, after that South Carolina game with Fromm, kind of put a dampener on
its course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think that a lot of people are quick to forget Fromm was excellent in the SEC championship versus Alabama and the national championship. He had his highlight moments. 2019 season was definitely his weakest.
Championship.
Yeah. He should have had a ring. So if he had a ring, it would have been closer. But I think Stetson, and plus Stetson's ability on the ground, you got to go Stetson Bennett.
God.
Jake Fromm, what could have been if he stayed in 2020? That's honestly a question I ask because we might have had Bama's number that year. I know they were insanely good, but the experience, it would have made a difference.
The 2018 SEC title game honestly might be Fromm's best career game. He went,
I think, 301.
Yeah, 25 for 39, 301 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, monster.
Very impressive.
Oh man, if only Hot Rod made the kick, but that's a can of worms. We can open that another time. This one is sort of tying a bow on the whole Georgia-Alabama discussion, and then we'll move into some non-football related questions for a bit. This is from Ryan. He says, was losing to Georgia in the 2021 national championship the beginning of the end for Alabama's dynasty? I think it's still too early to tell, but the 2023 college football season, that will be the answer. If Bama can get to the playoff and win it again, no. If Bama misses the playoff again, I think the answer is yes. That was the end of the dynasty and the passing of the torch moment. I'm interested to see it. Bama is a big question mark this year, boys.
If they don't make the playoff, I don't think I can go as far as saying dynasty over because they sustained it for, let's call it, over a decade. I mean, he got there, 07? Saban did? Something like that, 07, 08?
Yeah, he came in 07.
Yeah. I don't think you can say dynasty over because, you're 2 years removed from a playoff berth and national championship appearance. But I think you're right. You definitely start to look at them kind of like what's going on with Bama. Like right now, I see this year right now as kind of similar to what 2019 was when they lost LSU and then they lost to Auburn. And, 2-loss season, everyone in that offseason was like, what's up with Bama? Blah, 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 dynasty over. And then they go, undefeated during the COVID season and win it all. So you never really know. they're not off to a good start. They're having a really weird spring. Their quarterbacks is a big question mark. Who knows, honestly, at this point. We got a lot of ball, spring ball, fall camp before we really can find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, how you feel?
I mean, I agree. I think it's a bit too early to tell, quite frankly. But if things keep, if they, I think it definitely could be looking back of like into the next 5 or 10 years, the trend continues and the dynasty does kind of fizzle out. That would definitely be kind of the turning point there. I think will be that national championship game. And like you were saying, no, they're in a weird place right now. I think I saw something on social media this week saying that in quarterback they're looking for their Stetson Bennett, which just blows my mind hearing as a Georgia fan hearing that. So they're in a weird spot right now. I wouldn't count the dynasty out. I mean, with Saban at Alabama, they could go off next year and win the national championship again. I could see it. But that would definitely be a notable turning point if, things continue to not go so well for the Crimson Tide.
We'll have to see. I'm very interested to see how they turn out this year. Could be the last year for Saban if things go real bad, but that's unlikely. Keeping it in the realm of sports, we're going over to sports films. This is from Alex saying, if you had a chance to meet a film sports character, who would you pick? It's a great question. We did a recent, 2 episodes pretty much talking about sports movies. You could go the comedy route, the drama route. For me, this is a basic answer, but I just got to say it. I'd have to meet Rocky Balboa because the man has inspired me so much. I'd love to meet him and, get some training sessions from him, maybe run up I think it's the Philadelphia Museum of Art, those stairs and just pump my fists in the air. That's something that I would love to do. So I'd have to go Rocky. Definitely could have gone the comedic route there. Have some beers with a sports comedy legend. But I'm going Balboa. Maybe make it a double date with Apollo Creed, and I'll call that my day. But yeah, Brandon, who you leaning? I feel like you're going the comedy route.
I might have to go to the comedy route. I don't know. This is an interesting question. Not really anything I've thought of. I don't know, man. To hang out with Ricky Bobby, something like that.
And Cal.
I think that'd be pretty funny to have a beer with Ricky Bobby. I don't think I could turn that down. So I'm going
quotes from that night. Yeah.
Oh,
it'd be wild.
Absolutely.
I just thought of one. Sandra Bullock from Blind Side. No, I'm kidding. It's
I like the way you think.
I know, yeah. Shout out Sandra Bullock. I would have to go Billy Beane himself, Mr. Brad Pitt from Moneyball. I think that would be a very I don't know. I feel like he and I would kind of vibe. Just I don't know. He seems like a chill guy. The scenes of him throwing shit in that movie, I kind of resonate with that sometimes. Like you gotta let it out at some point, but it would be fun to do like a rage room or something with him. Like those rooms where you go in and smash shit.
Oh yeah,
I would definitely do that with Billy Beane. That would be sick.
I would love to just sit down with the man and watch highlights of college football or sports and just talk to him. And then if I'm kind of getting multiversal here, real weird, I would actually just be talking to Brad Pitt, which would be the dream anyway. So
honestly, yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, stay in the realm of movies for a bit here. We're kicking it over to Marvel. Someone asks, what's your favorite MCU project? We don't really talk about non-sports movies here, so this is a fun little one. I'll go first. Avengers Infinity War, unmatched to me. I adore that movie and the way that it just set up Endgame. It's perfect. The 1-2 punch of Infinity War Endgame, chef's kiss for me. So I got to go Infinity War. But Noah, how you feeling? Pressure's on.
Is this okay? Am I limited to a single movie?
You could say TV
or TV.
You could say it's MCU TV show or a movie. Yeah.
I think I kind of find myself in not in your boat because you kept going really strong after Endgame. I kind of more so resonate with the average viewer. My viewership kind of dipped following the end of the Infinity Saga. So I mean, since I was a kid, Iron Man has been probably my favorite Avenger. So I'll probably have to go with the Iron Man films just because Robert Downey Jr. steals the show every time he's on the screen. So
yes, yeah, he's the best. I love to hear that love for Iron Man. The first Iron Man movie still, top 5 MCU
Spectacular.
for me
It
still.
turned
Oh, yeah.
15 either today or yesterday.
I think that was today.
Hell yeah.
Like one of them,
May
yeah.
2nd.
So
Let's go.
yeah. And Brandon, Quantumania? No.
Oh.
Multiverse
Yeah.
of Midness?
Saw that last night at Sanford Stadium. Interesting film. I didn't hate it. I feel like, there's a lot of hate that came out about that movie. But
Yeah.
anyways, I will say Iron Man does hold a special place in my heart. I remember being a kid going on road trips. I don't know if either of y'all had this, but there are these little like portable TV screens that would attach to like the driver's seat, and you could watch movies, like little headphones, and you have your little CD case with all your movies in it. And Iron Man was heavily in rotation for that for me on any road trip. But outside of that, I don't want to go really maybe the basic route and pick like an Avengers movie. I think one film that stood out to me was Thor Ragnarok. It's been one of my favorites. Really liked how they did that movie. Kind of a good blend of some comedic elements with some cool action scenes. So that's kind of one of the ones that stuck out to me in the MCU.
Very nice. Yeah. That's a quotable movie. It's a fun one. And the soundtrack,
Very fun film.
Immigrant Song, yeah. Badass. Now getting into some of the YouTube community tab questions. We got some really good ones here. Wilson33 says, are any of you guys NFL fans? And if so, what are your favorite teams?
Oh, let's open that can of worms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you take the floor here, and I have something to say after.
Oh God. So me and Brandon, and this is something we bonded on early in our friendship. We are emotional hostages of the Atlanta Falcons.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Pre Super Bowl 51. Both of us probably childhood, right? Like around the same time period as we started picking up Georgia. We also, hey, this Georgia-based professional team, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Future's looking bright. That's all I gotta say. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think we're looking good. I didn't hate the draft.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of fans had mixed opinions on Bijan. I did it at the time. I've come back around a little bit on it, but I'm not going to hate on a guy that we drafted no matter what. But
yeah,
had a lot of cap space, had a lot of free agents. We'll see. NFC South isn't looking very good, so we have an opportunity there.
Wide open.
So
we'll have to see what happens, gentlemen. I, on the other hand, I would say the last time I was a Falcons fan was the 2012 season when they lost the NFC Championship, and then I literally was like, I'm good. Like I don't really care anymore, and I stopped watching them.
Loss.
Yeah, that's understandable that you decided to depart at that moment.
Yeah, I swore off of them, and I have not. Even when I have to bring it up, when they lost the Super Bowl, like I didn't lose sleep over it. I know, like you two, it crushed you, and I'm deeply sorry that happened. But yeah,
the next year when Georgia lost, like it was like I was just like, all right, I'm going to bed. This sucks.
It was your warm up, the Falcons Super Bowl.
Oh, Falcons!
That was like
I cried. That was probably one of the only like professional sports losses where I've cried. That brought me to tears.
It was it was brutal. There's no other way to put it. In terms of my team, I've never really had one. We've joked before about spinning a wheel for me to find a team.
Now.
Yeah. I will say this right now. I liked the Eagles last season and Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be hard for me not to pull for them every game this year with all the dogs they got. And I mean, Swift on offense now too. They have like the whole defense is dogs. I think I might just ride with the Eagles. But again,
smart play. I
just like players. Like I like the Bengals too because I like Joe Burrow. So that's kind of how I roll. I just pick a team. I'm like, I'll cheer for him this game. I don't really care that much though. Makes betting fun.
That's true.
Yeah. Staying in the football realm, this is from the last resident. Who is your least favorite team in college football? But this is the huge star here. Cannot be a rival of Georgia. So it has to be just another team out there that you hate that's not a Georgia rival. So it can't be Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Clemson, even technically an old school rival. So this is interesting. I have a few that come to mind, but Brandon, I'm kicking it to you first.
When I think about that, I mean, I don't really, outside of Georgia rivals, I don't feel like I have much disdain for any one college football team. I think the one that maybe comes to mind for me would be Oklahoma, for a couple of reasons. They were pretty annoying in that Rose Bowl game. We won, but I came around to Baker Mayfield, but he was a bit of an annoyance that game. And then also Big Game Boomer on Twitter is another reason why I'm not a big fan of the Sooners. But yeah, I think that's about it for me. I can't really think of anybody else I hate outside of the SEC or Georgia rivals.
Yeah, yeah. I have a few that come to mind. I'll be honest, it's not as bad anymore, and I need their quarterback to win the Heisman this year. But Notre Dame, I never have been fond of. Never
That's
been
fair.
fond of that. And then a lot of you guys in the comments are watching this might agree, but I don't care for Ohio State, and I don't think I ever will. And after playing them in the Peach Bowl, it enhanced that even more for me. How whiny their fans are and entitled, I would even say.
Absolutely.
Like it's insufferable. So I think Ohio
Yeah.
State's pretty high on that list. And Noah, it seems like you agree.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to bring up. Ohio State. I mean, just I have never seen a team so entitled, but like they have two national championships since I don't even know what year. Like they won one in like
They won 14 in
04,
2014, and
20.
then
Yeah, and like we have the same
First year
amount of
playoff.
championships as them since 2000. Like they beat Miami in 04 and then they won in 2014. And like it just baffles me like how spoiled a fan base can be and not at least have awareness, because I feel like at least for me as a Georgia fan, I recognize because we were there in the middle of the pack for like a good decade there with like a year or two above average. But I don't know, just I guess heavy is the head that wears the crown, and sometimes people aren't very aware of how bad it could be. And I feel that way about Ohio State and a couple other teams. I mean, never really cared for Oregon fans. They have that entitlement too, but no trophies to show for it. I don't know. That's a weird one. That's just
yeah,
me. I don't know. I
That is
feel
kind
weird
of a
about
stretch.
Oregon fans.
I know what you mean. It's honestly for me every year, other top dogs that aren't
Mhm.
like other non-conference top dogs. There's a little bit of like tension between the fan bases. So
It's starting
we'll
with
see who that is
Michigan
this
too.
year. Yeah,
It started the past couple of years
Michigan.
in Michigan. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
I think I would be there on Michigan, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not a fan of I think Harbaugh and McCarthy. I don't really like
Yeah.
either, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Clown. McCarthy is a clown. Oh man. But moving on to the next question from Aiden. By the way, Aiden's a Florida fan, but we'll forgive him.
It's tough.
Who was y'all's favorite player growing up? Good one. Really good one. It's going to
It's
be a
just gonna be
Georgia
all
player
Georgia
for me.
players.
All
And
Georgia
I
players.
Same.
all Georgia, yeah, across the board.
Let's
For
name a
me, it
Georgia and a
was
non-Georgia. That sound good? Georgia
yeah,
and
that's good.
non-Georgia. That's good.
That's
That's good.
fair.
So for me, I loved Jarvis Jones. Like me and my buddy loved Jarvis Jones, and like I had like a big printout thing I still do in my wall. Jarvis Jones is like was my favorite defensive player in 2012. Offense, I'll save it because I think Noah's gonna say that guy. And then
Yeah.
for non Georgia, it's Johnny Manziel. I had his like t-shirt jersey. I love to like play football with my friends in the yard and do the little money thing and talk like shit. I would get super cocky. I would be like, I'm playing quarterback. I would want him to rush me and do like the spin move. So Johnny Manziel, just because he was so cool to watch, and then Jarvis Jones for Georgia probably. But Noah, who is your favorite players?
For Georgia, yeah, you guessed correctly. I got to go with Todd Gurley.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
guy, running back 2012 to 2014. He was probably the player that, you know, really got me into football as a whole. Like that 2012 season saved the, SEC championship loss. It was magic. It was probably I have so much nostalgia for that season that, even after two national titles, I will still hold on to like a little bit more closely. Weird thing to say, but yeah. For non-Georgia, I think as funny as this is, I think I got to go Marcus Mariota. I loved watching him play in college, but yeah,
Yeah.
that recently has been ruined because he played for the Falcons last year and that didn't go very well.
Let's not talk about that.
He gave me more headaches than any other player in the NFL. So Yeah. I enjoyed you in college, Marcus. Sorry. I don't know.
Yeah. I think if I'm going Georgia outside of the two people that you mentioned, especially Todd Gurley. I mean, I think that's up there for everybody that grew up a Georgia
Yeah.
fan around our age. Probably, going a little earlier, AJ Green, loved him. That one catch in the corner of the end zone against Colorado is like etched into my brain.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
probably No Sean Moreno as well. The hurdle, who was that against? It was like Central Michigan. Um, yeah, and then outside of Georgia, I don't know, probably like RG3. He was
Yeah.
fun to watch growing up.
Yeah.
So
Rate all the SEC East teams plus Auburn from who you hate least to most. And they
Ooh,
say go Gamecocks at the end of that. So
go Cox.
see at the
interesting.
top.
So I have a piece of paper here. Obviously, Georgia's going to be at the top of our list because we love them. But then is where it gets interesting. To me, and I think I can speak for all of us, Florida's going at the bottom in terms of being the most hated. Would you all agree?
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, yeah, I could say Florida, but Tennessee is getting closer to Florida for me. Just like
Ooh,
recency
Yeah.
bias, I think.
I'd
But
go.
I'm still willing to put Florida.
They're right there. They're right there.
They're
yeah.
1A, 1B for me. As
I
a
hate Tennessee and Florida almost equally. They're both at the
Mhm.
bottom, and then Auburn would be right above them just because they stink right now, so they're not like a
Yeah.
thorn in the side.
yeah, no,
Uh,
it's recency.
mhm.
Um,
After that, if I'm being brutally honest here, I would probably throw Carolina. I don't care for
I
the
mean,
Gamecocks.
they challenge us like once every 5 years. I mean, it's like
yeah, they
it's
were
like
annoying.
Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, and then everybody else. Like that's kind of
Yeah,
how I feel.
yeah.
Yeah,
Above
I would
Carolina.
I put Kentucky above Missouri personally. I think they've
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
outside of
Kentucky
what
like
you're.
sneaky the past few years. They've been a little
They've
sassy
had
when they
some
play us.
solid teams of the past,
Yeah,
I think like 5 years.
this
2018
past year's
top 10
game.
matchup.
Yeah,
I would say Vandy is right below us. I have nothing against Vandy personally.
I feel
Uh,
bad for Vandy.
honestly, yeah.
literally.
And then Missouri's the only one left, right?
Yeah, so here's our final ranking from least hated to most hated. Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, Kentucky, South Carolina, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. I don't think we've forgotten anyone from the East. If we did, they're irrelevant. Did Kentucky upgrade or downgrade with Devin Leary replacing Will Levis? I would argue that they upgraded. I don't know. Will
I
Levis is
think
super overrated to me.
I was gonna say I think Levis is highly overrated. I don't think he got a hell of a lot of draft buzz just because of the measurables. Um, watching what he did in college, he had his moments, but I'd never understood. Um, probably just the potential, and his stature and his arm strength. But
Yeah, he's not going anywhere in the NFL. That's just my opinion as a guy who doesn't really watch the NFL that much. But I don't think Levis is going to be all that. Noah, how do you feel about this situation?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out how good NC State's defense was. Like I thought they had a decent at least defense. But yeah, I kind of see it as like a pretty much equal thing. I mean, I think Levis was definitely better in 21, which I mean he had an NFL wide receiver. I think his wide receiver in 21 went in the first round. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Mm-hmm.
2022 Will Levis didn't, really amount to much. I mean, he played hurt more often than not, but I think Kentucky reasonable outlook with Devin Leary. I think that secondary is going to get better. 9-10 wins, probably 1 or 2 losses, maybe 3. That's kind of where I see it. I see it as kind of an equal trade-off.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
I don't
fair.
think it's a downgrade. I think it's a lateral move or an upgrade.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Any dark horse teams for this upcoming season? I have one that comes to mind, a true dark horse here because no one's really talking about them. I'm looking at quarterback experience in the SEC. I'm going to Mississippi State. That's a dark horse team. Do I think that they will be in the conversation? Not really, but they're kind of on the outside looking in. If they could get a few tough road wins in the SEC, anything's possible. They can sling it. We've seen that quarterback sling it. Will Rogers, right? So we'll see. That's a dark horse team. So for some reason, I was like, maybe they could make a New Year's Six or something crazy. I don't see them winning the whole thing or making the playoff, but they could maybe make some noise. We'll see. I'll go Miss State. Brandon, how you feeling about a dark horse team?
I don't know, man. I don't know about like true dark horses. I mean, I don't know if you could go Notre Dame a dark horse just because of their, maybe they're a blue blood, but I think, they're heading into the season with Sam Hartman and they're looking a lot better. So I think they have the opportunity to make some noise. I don't know about, there's some other dark horses this offseason, if you want to call it like Colorado or Nebraska. I don't think either of them really pose that much of a threat. I mean, I think they're on the up and up, but I don't think they'll actually threaten. I think Notre Dame could threaten.
Yeah, I think they're going to be damn good. So that's a great pick there. And Noah, what's a dark horse team looking ahead?
Yeah, I've been critical of this particular team before on previous episodes. I think I got to go Penn State. I don't know. A lot of uncertainty in the Big Ten right now. Yeah. A lot of uncertainty right now. I think Ohio State, obviously, quarterback position is in flux since DJ Stroud declared for the draft. Also with Michigan, very big question marks at the wide receiver position. Obviously, we still have a long time to go for fall camp, so they could get some portal relief. But I think Penn State is in a very precarious situation. Big vocab word. New starter in Drew Ayler coming in. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but former 5-star quarterback. It's going to be interesting to see how Penn State will stack up with the big dogs of the Big Ten this season.
They got a lot to prove, just like all the teams we mentioned there. And 2023 is going to be a damn exciting season. A lot of dark horses, always going to be some unexpected surprises for sure. But with that, I believe that will conclude the first ever Q&A here on 3 and Out. We'll definitely have some more down the road. This was fun. I'd be down to make this a damn near monthly thing, especially in the season, do like an episode where, hey, what are your questions as we head into this week's matchups? It could be something fun, a little segment to start up on the channel. I'm down. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit the like button, comment some questions. We might try and answer them in the comments down below. Stay tuned for more episodes like this, more laid back. It was a lot of fun. We want to let you guys get to know us a little bit more outside of just the college football world. So definitely a fun little new step in a different direction. But that's going to do it for this episode of 3 and Out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.